येन रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम् वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे नमो महावदन्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नामिने गौरतुषे नमः हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिय वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे मुखं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घायते गिरिं यत्कृपात्तमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरो दीनतारणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीचैतन्येश्वरम् Hare Krishna. Is the sound clear for online devotees? Krishna, bro?
Yes,
Sound is okay.
Prabhuji. Yes, sir.
Today we are able to hear you also. Okay, good. Two-way,
Prabhuji.
two-way communication now. We can hear you also. You are on the way.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
So thank you very much for being here. And this is the last session for this unit. We are discussing about Canto 5, Chapter 6. Vishwakirti, train में है क्या? Train में?
Yes, Prabhuji.
What an enthusiasm. Train से join कर. Hey, Janardhan, 2 in 1? Huh? No? Yeah, he's present at both the places. This is Mystic Siddhi. Thank you for joining. And so we discussed in this section characteristics of Rishabdev in chapter 4 and how Maharaj Navi loved him, how he put him in charge for all the citizens, how he trained him, and how Maharaj Rishabdev, like an ideal king, he ruled over the kingdom and set up the Varnashram Dharma very nicely. And then he had 100 sons from his wife Jayanti, who was given by Indra. Then he was going to Brahmavarta, where all the sons have gathered and citizens were also there. So he started instructing them. That's the duty of the father or the teacher or the spiritual master, to instruct the disciple. That's the service. And then we, discussed the instruction, the teachings, beginning from the importance of the human form of life. Today morning, those of you who were there in the Bhagavatam class, you saw the whole class was only on one point. Human life is different from animalistic life. One should do. What should one do in human life? What the word Prabhupada was using again and again? Huh? Athato Brahma Jigyasa. Again and again. At least 20 times he must have spoken. Athato Brahma Jigyasa. So human life is meant for inquiry about higher thing. Otherwise, if the inquiry is not there, then humans and animals are equivalent. And starting from there, then the path of serving the great souls, then going further and coming to the point of respecting the Brahmanas, and then telling that I am the Supreme Lord, you worship me, and under my instruction you respect and take guidance from Bharat Maharaj, who is the eldest among all of you. And then saying that one should respect all living entities by seeing that I am present in all the living entities. And in this way, one should serve the Lord by worshipping him. One should, take shelter of the representative of the Lord, and one should be having favorable disposition, respectful disposition toward all the living entities. So, and in between, how the sex life is so binding and all those things we discussed. And after that, we discussed how he took the Avaduta Vesh and then he started moving around. First, he was in the palace, then he moving around in the kingdom, and people were totally mistreating him. And then finally, he came to one place where he just stayed, and he passed his stool and urine, and he was just, kind of rolling in that. But then it is described the stool and urine was so fragrant that for 10 yojanas, one yojana is 8 mile, 1 mile is 1.4 kilometers. So you can imagine 10 yojana is how much? 10 yojana is 80 miles. 80 miles means almost 110 kilometers. So that was the radius of the fragrance of his stool and urine. So, because completely spiritual. And he was lying there, and all the mystic powers, they appeared in his personality. He's already Yogeshwara proper. He's Yogeshwara. It's not that he has to acquire powers. They all come. But still, he did not bother to utilize any of them for any purpose. So this was of great surprise to Parikshit Maharaj. And that is why he asked this question. Rajo Vacha, he asked. So before that, we'll just see a little overview of that. So this chapter has 19 verses. The first verse is a question by Parikshit Maharaj. Why Rishabdev neglected mystic power? Because he was a pure devotee, the Lord himself. He cannot be disturbed by any kind of mystic power. Then 2 to 5, which is the core of this chapter, 4 verses describe about how the mind functions in a very unpredictable way. So that's why the advanced soul don't put faith in mind. They never make friend with restless mind. Mind is like an unchaste woman, punctually. And mind is the root cause of 6 enemies. So these are the 4 points about mind, which are being mentioned. Then how King Arhat imitated Rishabdev and started the Jain religion, which is totally opposite to the Vedic principles. That is being described in 4 verses. And then further there is a glorification of unparalleled activities of Lord Rishabdev. And finally, Sukhdev Maharaj encourages Parikshit Maharaj because he thought that Rishabdev has appeared and Prevrat Maharaj dynasty is so glorious. What about me? Because Lord appeared, no? In Uttanpad dynasty, Lord appeared as which incarnation of the Lord appeared? Uttanpad Maharaj dynasty. Prathu Maharaj, Lord's ruling potency, Shashan Shakti. And here, in Prevrat dynasty, Lord appeared as Rishabdev. But in Pandava dynasty, Lord did not appear in any of the form. Lord appeared in a self-same form, but he was more devoted to Pandavas than the other dynasties in which he appeared. So that's why he says this very famous verse, Rajan Patir Gurum Alam Bhavatam Yadunam. And the last line is very often quoted by our acharyas. Muktim dadati kareshit isma na bhakti yogam. Lord gives mukti very easily. Na bhakti yogam. But bhakti does not give very easily. Obeisance to Lord Rishabdev. So this is what our journey will be today, the next almost 1 hour. So this is in the prose form. So let's read the translation of what the question Parikshit Maharaj is asking.
King Parikshit asked Sukadeva Goswami, my dear Lord, for those who are completely pure in heart, knowledge is attained by the practice of Bhakti Yoga, and attachment for fruitive activity is completely burned to ashes. For such people, the powers of mystic yoga automatically arise. They do not cause distress. Why then did Rishabdev neglect them?
So in the last verse, it is told that all the mystic siddhis appeared in the body of Rishabdev, but he neglected them. So Parikshit Maharaj was surprised that why did he neglect them? Why did Rishabdev neglected the mystic siddhis? So that was the question he asked in between Sukadeva Goswami narration about Rishabdev. Prabhupada writes in the purport, pure devotees constantly engage in the service of the Supreme Lord. Whatever is necessary for the discharge of devotion service automatically attained, although it may appear to be the result of mystic yoga power. Sometimes a yogi displays a little yogic power in manufacturing gold, and this may captivate foolish people. But Such a yogi may advertise himself as Bhagwan. You know one Bhagwan who used to do that? Bangalore? Used to make gold and say, I'm God. Asatya Sai Baba. Mithya Sai Baba. Not Satya Sai Baba. He is dead and gone now. Nobody knows where is he, where is gold, where is ash. All what remained is ash, not gold. You know. So, however, a devotee does not have to exhibit such magical wonders, because a devotee wants to attract people to the service of the Lord, to surrender to the Lord. And if he displays mystic power, then people may get distracted and may get attracted by the mystical power more than the process of surrender. So this is very important, because Chamatkar ko Namaskar is a very common thing in India. Other places also, like Christian, they do healing, mass healing. And in each religious tradition, there are some mysticism is involved. There's something inhuman happened. And that's why followers also think that something like this will happen and magic will happen. And sometime within ISKCON, sometime outside ISKCON, those people who are following someone, they also have that mystical experience in the first meeting. Like in His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj book, you'll find Journey Home. So many times when you meet followers, then he will say, well, when I came in front of Baba, Baba knew everything about me. He just narrated as if he's reading a book. And that convinced me that I should surrender. So many times that happens. People see something inhuman, something mystical, then they tend to put their faith on that. And they feel that everything what I want will be achieved by the mysticism of this person. He will provide me that by the mystic thing. So that people may get attracted by that. So under the circumstances, Lord Rishabdev refused to manifest mystic yogic perfection. And Maharaj Parikshit asked why he did not accept them, since for a devotee they are not at all disturbing. A devotee is never distressed or satisfied by material opulence. He is not distressed. If it is not there, he is not distressed. If it is there, it is not that he is satisfied because of that. His concern is how to please the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That is his concern. The devotee's only question is, my dear Lord, how shall I please you? This is the question Prabhupada also asked his Guru Maharaj. Right? One chapter is there. The Prabhupada said that I had only one question. How can I serve you? And to serve means to please. So that's his only concern. For that, if mystic siddhis are required, he may use them. Not required, he may not use them. But in general, because mystic siddhis can, distract, that's why devotees often don't show them, although they have it. If by the grace of the Supreme Lord, a devotee achieves extraordinary opulence, he utilizes the opportunity for the Lord's service. He is not disturbed by the opulence. He is not disturbed. If it is used, then fine. And all pure devotees, they have mystic siddhis. Right? Any examples? How pure devotees have mystic siddhis even on Vaishnava tradition, but they don't highlight that. They don't use it for preaching about that. Any example from Acharya's lives? Many are there. Let's see.
Rasikananda Prabhu.
Rasikananda Prabhu. So Rasikananda Prabhu, this person was so impressed. He's just flying on the carpet, is going up and down without taking off, without running on the runway. Let's chant Hare Krishna, forget it. What will he use? And he was like too excited about that. So what he took? The datun, the toothstick. He just put it, rise above it, went around one round and came. तो स्टिक वाले बाबा है, वो तो कारपेट वाला बाबा है, ये तो स्टिक वाले बाबा है. ज्यादा महान है. Any other personality? So, Srila Haridas Thakur, right? The executors told him, if you don't die, the king will punish us. The Nawab or the Qazi will punish us. So he said, oh, you want me to die? I will die. And then he just laid down and there was no symptom of life in his body. And then there was a debate whether to burn him or to bury him. Right? And then they said, okay, drop him into Ganges. So he went into Ganges, he floated a little ahead and he came out and then he came back. That's mystic siddhi, right? It's a mystic siddhi. You hear about Gadadhar Das? You've not heard, you can read about him, Gadadhar Das. He will go in the river and catch hold of the crocodile, slap him and tell, chant Hare Krishna. The crocodile is one of the ferocious animals. And sometimes he'll go below water and stay there for several days, just meditating on Krishna. Now, this is what Sovereign Muni did. So this is mystic siddhi. I and you cannot remain inside water for a long time. So many have. Bhakti Saraswati Maharaj was perfect astrologer. He could predict the future very well. But he left it. He wrote the book, Siddhant Kaumudi, and because of that he got the name Siddhanta Saraswati. That was given by the Calcutta University Astronomical Department, not by any devotee. Siddhanta Saraswati was given. But he left it because he said it's not required. Srila Prabhupada had mystic powers. Some of you were there in Ujjain. Amulila Prabhu gave an offering on Prabhupada's mystic power this time. Some of you heard it? How the sand and all those. So I don't know. Somehow these people get some stories which no one has ever heard. How they get it, only God knows. But one thing which is there documented is there in Prabhupada was there in manner. When they have got the manner, and Yamuna Mata was there, 1971 almost. And Prabhupada is walking, and there are no steps visible. There are no steps visible. And they are saying their steps are there because it's grass and cold and all. And Yamuna Mata writes in the book, Unalloyed. Other devotee also mentioned it. So he said, Prabhupada, because one little stone went into Prabhupada's shoes. A little stone jumped somehow. So she took it out and she said, Prabhupada, there are no steps. Said, that's all right. So Prabhupada did not make a thing that is floating or gliding or thing like that. So there are many instances of Prabhupada's mystical thing also, but they don't highlight that because that is not their main goal. They don't want to attract people out of some kind of charisma, some kind of opulence, because opulence, charisma, chamatkar, they can attract person but cannot transform a person. Person want to use that charisma for fulfilling one's own desires, but our process is to purify the heart of all this, materialistic desires. So that's why our acharyas, although they possess all the powers, they don't bother about it. So many acharyas examples we can give, like Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur, when he will write Srimad Bhagavatam commentary, even when the rains are coming, that area where he's writing, no rain will come. Is it not a mistake? How can you separate out an area? And when he'll write something which is very delighting, the tree will become covered with flowers and fruits. And he'll write something which is in separation, even the tree will cry and all the leaves will, fall off. So acharyas have it, but they don't really bother because they are seeing the supreme mystical Lord in the spiritual world, right? So they don't really bother too much about performing some kind of mystic things here. They want to inspire people to surrender using their intelligence. Not that they keep intelligence aside and just kind of become a blind follower. So now Rishabdev Maharaj is answering that. Rishi Ruvacha, Sukadeva Goswami is saying, Satyam Uktam Kintu Eva Ekana Manaso Adda Vishrambhan Anavasthanasya Satha Kirat Eva Sangachante. So he gives a beautiful analogy. Pade?
Srila Sukadeva Goswami replied, My dear king, you have spoken correctly. However, after capturing animals, a cunning hunter does not put faith in them, for they might run away. Similarly, those who are advanced in spiritual life do not put faith in the mind. Indeed, they always remain vigilant and watch the mind's action.
So sign of advancement is to not put faith in mind. Those who are advanced, they don't put faith in mind. That means those who are not advanced, they put faith in mind. Conversely, indeed, they always remain vigilant and watch the mind's action. They're very vigilant. So this vigilance, being conscious of Krishna, cautious of Maya, both are qualities of an advancing devotee. You become more and more Krishna conscious, and you become more and more cautious of Maya also. Srila Prabhupada says, one of my complaints is that my disciples are not sufficiently afraid of Maya. They take Maya too cheaply. And it often happens. But just like after capturing animal, cunning hunter does not put faith in them, they might run away or they might harm him. It happens. Many times in circus, sometimes the animals again become wild and they kill the trainer only. Sometimes the snake poisons snake, they bite the snake catcher only. Many times it happens. So Savdhani Hati, Durgatna Hati. That applies in the case of mind. If one is not observant how mind is functioning, and little looseness, it will look like, so what? What difference does it make? But little looseness can really create havoc. The problem is it is not sometimes immediately visible. Radhana Maharaj in one lecture gives an example that just like that bait is there. So the fish sees the bait is coming and then, the fish want to run away. But then some fish thinks, well, it is coming and I'm in my zone, in my area. I can try to eat a little bit. And I know there's a hook inside. I've heard in the Bhagavatam class, I've heard in the Bhakti Vaibhava class, I've heard in the seminars. But that hook is there, but there is, I will be very careful to not get into the hook, but to eat the bait. That's what the fish thinks. And then the fish, eats a little bit and says, why? I ate and I'm still free. So eat a little bit more because worm is there, na? And no hard work, only worm is hanging and just one has to eat it. So fish goes, eats a little bit more. And in that greed, in that passion, the fish forget that even there is a hook. She knows it, but that forget. And then all of a sudden, she has eaten the bait and the hook has gone inside now. The hook has gone inside because if it is just in the mouth, na, then it will go off. But actually the fish swallows the bait, that worm or something, and then it goes inside. And that is where the fisherman strikes it up. And then the fish is caught because now it can't vomit it out. So Maharaj said that it's not that only those who don't know about Maya, they get captured. But those who know about Maya, but are not sufficiently vigilant, sufficiently cautious, they get trapped by Maya. It never starts that Maya Devi comes in one shot and blows up a person. No. Maya never functions like that. Another lecturer says that we have the policy of getting in like a needle and coming out like a plow. Maya knows the strategy too. It always goes in like a needle. When it starts, we don't even know where it has started. It just starts with something very small, like a big building. A little crack comes. Building or a dam, little crack is there. That is not noticeable also, not visible also. But if not paid attention, it's only a matter of time that the crack, becomes bigger and bigger, and then the whole dam is broken and the water floods the entire city. So everything in the nature starts small. It becomes big over a period of time if not paid attention. The weeds, sometimes there are thorny weeds in bushes. They are not that they are falling from the sky in such a big way. No, they're like little seed, and then you have the capacity to uproot them very easily when a child can uproot them. But that is not done in time. Over a period of time, they get such strength, they get so much roots and so much thorns. And now even if you pull them with full force, our hands will get cut, the weed will not come out. Everything in this nature starts small and becomes big. That's a gradual process for everything. The hurricanes and tornadoes or tsunamis, if you go to the epicenter, it will start with a small wave. Some little wave is there, but then it keeps on gathering momentum. The waves are there, somewhere 200 kilometers inside the ocean, the wave is coming and then it's gathering. Just the resonance is happening, gathering. By the time it comes to beach, it is like 50-meter high and running at the speed of 200 kilometers per hour, destroying the whole coastal area. The tsunami which came, once it came to Bangladesh, once it came to Odisha, other places. But the beginning is always small. Earthquakes, epicenter is small place, some little vibration there, but when it comes, reaches the surface, and it just shakes and everything destroyed. So Maya knows very well the way it functions. It always starts small. And if we neglect the small things, we will not be able to deal with the big things later. So that is why the spiritual aspirants have to be very, very careful, because they are functioning in a very opposite way. They're not functioning in the way the whole world is functioning. They are not thinking the way the whole world is. Their goal is different. Their aspiration is different. Their activities are different. So it's even tougher for them. Others are like already flowing with the wave of Maya, the wave of mind. They're riding on the wave of mind. Manorathena, manaso, dhavato, vahi. They're already sitting on the chariot of mind and going here and there. But devotee is trying to control the mind. And that is why the mind presents its big, unformidable shape like a monster. Another lecture, he talks about mind, that this Vyomasura, do not trust the enemy of mind. Some of my it is a very famous lecture. So Vyomasura was just taking the form of another cowherd boy, and that's how he was kidnapping. So it doesn't look like his enemy. It looks like he's a part of our camp. It looks like good. And then one by one, he was telling all the gopas and putting in the cave and covering it up. So similarly, it's not easy to detect the tricks of mind also. It's very challenging. So those who are advanced, they do not put faith in the mind. Indeed, they always remain vigilant and watch the mind's action. Purport Prabhupada says, act of sacrifice, charity and penance are not to be given up but should be performed. So even if one has renounced the world and taken sannyas, he should not renounce the chanting of Hare Krishna. Similarly, one should not renounce charity or tapasya. The yoga system for control of the mind and senses must be strictly followed. This is the first step. In Patanjali Yoga Sutra, the first step is one should control the mind and senses to practice yoga. That's the beginning, that's the foundation of that. Lord Rishabhdev showed how severe types of tapasya could be performed, And he set an example for all of us. So let's see Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's comment on this. So he's asking for Atma Ramas who burn up the seeds of karma by knowledge produced through yoga, the mystic power. The mystic power should not produce suffering again. So then he says, 6th chapter describes the low position of the mind, the disappearance of Rishabdev, and the rise of heterodoxy in imitation of his activities. Hearing that Rishabdev did not welcome mystic power, he asked a question. Atma Ramas have burned up the seeds of karma by knowledge arising from best yoga. The power should not be harmful. Why he rejected that? And then he says, you have spoken correctly. But in this world, intelligent people do not at all put faith in the steady mind, which is like a degraded, cunning person. So Prabhupada gives the analogy of the hunter after captivating an animal, he doesn't, but it gives the example of a degraded, cunning person, and he explains it. Here, purport of Vishwanath Thakur is more elaborate than Srila Prabhupada. Oftentimes it is not, but here it is. He's saying, you have spoken correctly. The mystic power should not give problems. However, intelligent persons, AK, never put faith in the mind. Why? The mind at every moment takes on a new condition. So mind, thoughts and ideas change as if there are patterns on the smoke screen. This is the example given by Bhurijan Puvinja Prabhu, you can see. That's like if you see the smoke, smoke is rising, then it takes some form and it dissolves. It's just like that. It doesn't stay for long. It looks like a nice form and then it gets dissolved. So similarly, the mind at every moment takes on a new condition. Becoming pure, the mind immediately becomes impure. The degraded kirat, a cunning person, after showing friendship skill, kills the trusting person after robbing him. You have seen that? This kind of things happen. People, nowadays there are cyber crimes, but in the good old days, people will go in train and make friendship. Kahan ja rahe hain? Ye thoda prasad hai, jagah ka lo. And then person is sleeping, you will loot him up and go. Very common thing. So this is kirat, degraded person. Acting like a friend, but within few moments he becomes a cheater and he cheats him and go. And sometimes there will be ladies, they will ask for a lift. It was very common in North India at some point of time. So they'll ask for a lift. And some nice young lady is there and people become very sympathetic. And she will say, please drop me in that area. And she will take. And then immediately she'll get off and then she will say, now you give me this much money, or mobile money, this and that. Otherwise I'll shout and say that you are troubling me. And she will shout and all her people will come out. And they will start beating him and they will start calling the police because police can't verify. Whatever the lady says is truth. That is Vedvakya. So then the person will lose. Same lady who was asking for a lift, then, change. So this is kirat. These are degraded people who change their nature at the spur of the moment. So what is the mind like? After showing its purity with power, not to be influenced by lust and anger. Now 10 saal ho gaya, bhakti karte karte. 12 saal ho gaya, 15 saal ho gaya, 20 saal ho gaya. Now lust and anger, now I'm giving seminar on how to overcome lust. I definitely know. Overcoming lust का सेमिनार सुना है, नोट्स बनाए हैं, पीपीटी बनाया है, दिया भी है. भगवत गीता 3 point section 39 47 section. I know. Kam esha, krodha esha, rajoguna samana. I know all the slokas. After showing its purity with power not to be influenced by lust and anger, one day the mind makes the sadhaka who has become lax in effort to fall down by a sudden appearance of lust or anger. Now again, this sudden means it happens over a period of time. But by the time he realizes there are a couple of sannyas candidates who have fell prey to, lust or get carried away. So, though the low-born person constantly studies the dharma and shows good character and is trusted even in the treasury, he sometimes commits theft since his nature is difficult to give up. Sometimes low-born person, it happens because their lower nature comes up because that samskara is. So similarly, though one trusts the mind which has been purified by sense control and mind control and has become fixed in hearing and meditation, the uncontrolled mind becomes absorbed in sinful activity when given the opportunity and takes away discriminating knowledge. Its knowledge is there. But somehow that past samskaras and somehow the mind is disturbed, health is not good, somebody said something, family there's a trouble. And that is part of the moment somebody clicks something and then just watches. And he knows it's all nonsense, he has given it up, but it comes up. Most of the time when we deal with such cases, it happens in the spur of the moment. It is not planned. But in that spur of the moment, mind cheats. And person just something pops up and he just clicks and sees that he realizes it's not useful, it's all waste. but then might find some kind of pleasure in that at the least expected moment. And then once one checks it, then one says, oh, it's nice, then one may go again on it, one may download it, one may copy it, one may. So all these things happen. These are all mind cheating. The mind looks like that it is pure, it is doing good, it is nice, but any moment mind can cheat. So that is why these pure souls, they don't put faith on the mind. So he says, no, tatha choktam, it is said, na kuryat kareche sakhyam manasi hi anavastite yad vishrambal chirachirnam cha skanda tap aishwaram.
All the learned scholars have given their opinion. The mind is by nature very restless, and one should not make friends with it. If we place full confidence in the mind, it may cheat us at any moment. Even Lord Shiva became agitated upon seeing the Mohini form of Lord Krishna, and Shaubari Muni also fell down from the mature stage of yogic perfection.
Chanchalam hi mana Krishna pramati balavat pranam. Is by nature is restless. One should not make friends with it. If you place confidence in mind, it will cheat us at any moment. And then he gives the example of such exalted personalities, Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, Saubari Muni, mature stage of yogic perfection. So this is the opinion of the learned scholars who are truly learned. And as we were discussing that, this is not just the problem with the foolish. It is not about mudas. It is about vidvam sapi karshati. Even the wise people get carried away. And you know that famous example of Jaimini Rishi and Vyasdev comes at, in the form of a woman, and to show that how even the wise people knowing everything can get carried away. So the only solution is to not make friendship with the mind. To know that mind has the potential to cheat us. To treat the mind like a spy of the enemy. It can know the details and any moment it can do Vishwas Ghat. It can turn against us. The first business of one trying to advance in spiritual life is to control the mind. Mana sasthanindriyani prakritisthani kar sati. The living entity is suffering in this mental world and struggling for existence due to the mind and senses. To get out of the false struggle for existence and become happy in the mental world, one has to control the mind and senses and be detached from material condition. And for that, one should never neglect austerities and penances. One should always perform them. Austerity and penances help to yama, niyama. They help us to regulate the mind. Lord Rishabdev personally showed us how to do this. And then he talks about the same verse we were quoting. Matra swastra dohitra va nyavivikt asano bhavet balavan indriya gramo vidvam sam api karshati. Grastha, Vanprastha, Sannyasi and Brahmachari should be very careful when associating women. So who should be? All four ashramas, they say Grastha also. One is forbidden to sit down in a solitary place even with one's mother, sister or daughter. See, Ajamil was a Grastha, right? He was a Grastha, he was not a Gramidhi also. He was a Grastha, and it mentioned that he has a young, beautiful Brahmana wife. It was not like ugly, old, Sudra wife. What was that? Young, beautiful Brahmana wife. So definitely it was not that he was totally like, passionate and all that. But still the nature of lust is such that the mind get hooked to someone or something, it just get hooked. And mind makes that person look beautiful in the eyes of the man. Although from another perspective, that may not be so beautiful. Sometimes you can see that. Sometimes you see the man is very smart, but the wife is like, brinjal or tomato like that. Sometimes you see the lady is very, very beautiful looking, but the husband is like potato or something like that. You see that. But क्या बोलते हैं? Love is blind. Once the mind get hooked, it doesn't matter, who is the person, because this programming is there in the mind. It is not sensible. It is there in the mind only. Like Shambhu gave that example that one person was standing and he saw another lady standing in front, long hair, and bus was crowded, so he was getting, kind of excited by the sense of touch, and he released semen in his pants only. And then, the person turned back and he's a mustache and all, the man with long hair. So for the mind, the reality and imagination, there's no difference. The mind cannot differentiate between reality and imagination. So that's a good thing and bad thing both. So mind works only by imagination. That means that we can develop higher taste also by training the mind. By training the mind to get higher taste in certain things, one mind can be trained. That's why mind is trainable. And it's not like function of whether the object is really there or not there. The mind imagines something, it happens. Like bad dreams, it happens. So that's why it says that all these 4 ashramas, they should be very careful when associating with women. In our Krishna consciousness movement, it has been very difficult to disassociate ourselves from women in our society, especially in Western countries and westernized country. Western countries and westernized country, which is Mera Bharat Mahan. Bharat, not India now. India is now Bharat. है ना? Officially हुआ है ना? Officially हुआ है? ठीक है. Okay, both are there. चलेगा. We are therefore sometimes criticized, but nonetheless we are trying to give everyone a chance to chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra and thus advance spiritually. अब देखो ये जो प्रॉब्लम लिखा है ना, this we can stick at our sticker. If we stick to the principle of chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra offenselessly, then by the grace of Srila Haridas Thakur, we may be saved from the allurement of women. If we stick to the practice of chanting offenselessly, that's why understanding the offense, avoiding the offense is so important. Not just chanting Hare Krishna, not just chanting in the morning, but endeavoring to chant offenselessly. However, if we are not very strict, in case we are not very strict in chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, we may at any time fall victim to women. Very, powerful statement. If chanting is not proper, not just ritualistic, if chanting is not with attention, if chanting is not with concentration and trying to drive away the thought, because chanting is a struggle. And the quality of chanting decides the quality of everything else in our life. Quality of hearing Bhagavatam, the quality of our association, the quality of worshipping the deity. Everything else is a subset of quality of chanting. Because chanting, we are directly calling the Lord. And whatever affection we have for the Lord in the form of His holy name, the same kind of affection we'll have for Him in the other forms. Kali Kale Nama Rupe Krishna Avatar. So, chanting is such a powerful thing. Even in the case of Ajamila, Prabhupada writes here, that what is the hope for a brahmachari in these days? He writes the brahmachari thing. You read that? You will read it in the next time. So what is the hope for a brahmachari where the half-naked women are moving all around? Ajamilas are just all over. That day we were coming with Radhesham Prabhu from the airport, and just at the footpath, there's one boy and girl, they were like Ajamila part 2 only. Just embracing, kissing each other. Just on the footpath, not like, and very decent boy and girl, not like, not like slum area people. They were just like totally shameless. So, what is the hope, Prabhupada asked? Prabhupada said, there is no hope. On our own power, there is no hope. Only if we stick to the process of sadhana bhakti, chant the holy name properly, and pray to the Lord. Then by their grace will be protected. Otherwise, gone. So we are brahmacharis not by our own strength. We are brahmacharis by the borrowed strength of our acharyas. So, and then he gives an example. Srila Vishwanath Thakur quotes that, because of faith in the mind, once austerity practiced over a long time, chirat chirinam flows away. Chaskanda. It flies away. Woman has the power to uninstall the austerities of the man. The form of the woman is created to destroy the austerity of man. It's just created and the system is made like that. No man can remain steady in the presence of woman, Prabhupada writes in one purport. And another place he writes that the mind of the conditioned soul, the thoughts of the conditioned, never too far from sex life. They're always moving on that. Somehow or other, we are living in the temple, we have the deities. Still, we will not feel that connection to deities. But even on signal, if some girl comes and stops by the side and a person, one look, and you start feeling some kind of connection. Just miraculous how it happens. Any girl the boy sees, the male sees, start feeling some kind of relation. The girls don't feel that way. The man feels like that. Man is always lusty. And the women, they are lusty at certain times. But when they are, then they are more than men. When they are not, they are sober. But the man is constantly haunted by lusty thought. You've seen that video Raishambhu shows? A research where, the man is like constantly living. You've seen that? All of you have seen that? Yeah. So that man is constantly haunted by that. That is why all the products are sold by putting half-naked woman on that, not half-naked man. Because women, when they're lusty, but they're not always lusty. When their lust is aroused, then they're 9 times more lustier than men. but is not always aroused. But the man is always constantly lusty. Any woman, anywhere, anytime he sees, and his mind get distracted. So one has to be very, very careful. We have become devotees, at least trying to become devotees. We have taken the ropes of sadhu, but mind has not become a sadhu yet. Mind is still a sadhu. Mind is still a karmi. Mind is still causing us bad association. Mind is not yet our friend. It's our enemy. Then he says, Ashwaram relate to Lord Shiva who's austerity or destroyed by seeing the form Mohini, or it can refer to those who are expert in sense control, such as Swabari. So this is a very important task that we should not consider ourselves as safe. We should be very, very careful in dealing with opposite sex. Otherwise, if you know Shivji example is given, although divine, but the example is still quoted. And Swabari Muni. Now Swabari Muni did not go for any pornographic site. He just saw the fishes mating. Now, I don't think any one of us even know the difference in male fish and female fish. You know, in the cases of dog and bull and cow, it's easier to know who's male, who's female. But in the case of fish and birds, how do you know it? Right? It's very difficult to know. But he saw the fishes mating and he got agitated. So, and such a great sage. On one hand, is such a great austere sage, on the other hand, the stimulus is just so weak. Fishes mating, not like some humans doing something. Ajamila at least saw the humans doing something, he got agitated. But the nature of lust is such, the nature of mind is such that what it will hook to, we can't decide. Some small thing it get hooked to and it gets hooked. So many cases are there when the householder person get attracted to a maid servant, although wife is there. Or, as you were telling, 57% extramarital affairs. So they're married, they have a partner, but yet the mind is so crazy that it gets attracted to another man or woman like that. Chastity is not there. So our mind is not chaste. Chaste mind should be attracted to Krishna only. Man manava mad bhakto, Krishna says that. The mind goes to other forms and other ways. So it makes it challenging. Text 4. Nityam dadati kamasya chidram tamanu ye arahya yoginah krit maitrasya patir jayev pumshali.
An unchaste woman is very easily carried away by paramours, and it sometimes happens that her husband is violently killed by her paramours. If the yogi gives his mind a chance and does not restrain it, his mind will give facility to enemies like lust, anger, and greed, and they will doubtlessly kill the yogi.
Classical example. Some lady whose husband was killed. Very classical, Bhagavatam connected. Anything there in Bhagavatam, there is pastimes in Bhagavatam or known Puranas for that. The Bhagavatam Mahatma, the story of Gokarna comes. Right? So, who was the brother? Dundukari. And how Dundukari was killed? Dundukari was killed by the ladies killed him because he stole. He sold that, So, and the women were prostitutes, they were unchaste. That's why they killed Dundukari by putting coal and firewood in his body. They killed him in such a abominable way. And if one read newspaper, there are just so many stories of ladies and their paramours killing the other people. Hindi movies, they often advertise that also. So same way, just like the unchaste woman is carried by paramours, similarly, the mind is compared to that woman, and if it's not restrained, it easily gives facility to lust, anger, and greed, and they doubtlessly kill the yogi. In this word, Pumshali referred to a woman who is easily carried away by men. Such a woman is never to be trusted. Unfortunately, in the present days, women are not controlled. According to direction of Shastra, women are never to be given freedom. When they're child, by father; when they're young, by husband; old, by sons. If she is given independence and allowed to mingle unrestrictedly with men, she will be spoiled. And this is what the main cause of degradation of today's society is, that women is given independence and allowed to mingle unrestrictedly with men. Boyfriend, girlfriend has become a commonly accepted phenomena all over India practically, because the girls go to study in big colleges, they live in hostels, so they interact with men. Previous time, at least what time if a girl talks to a boy, it will talk of the town, the whole colony will know. There's so much pressure. This boy talk to that girl, and the girl's parents will call, and they will just come to fight. Sometimes the girl's brother will beat the boy also. Sometimes it will also. There's so much out there. Now it's like everyone is together. Boyfriend, girlfriend is no problem.
Girls can come to boys also, right?
They can come to hostel. In some of the colleges, there are common hostel rooms. This room, boys are remaining, this girls are staying, and sometimes there are common washrooms. Can you imagine? So no gender-based difference, but they don't know the higher science. So if she's given independence and allowed to mingle unrestricted with men, she will be spoiled. A spoiled woman being a manipulative paramours might even kill her husband. This example is given here because a yogi desiring to get freedom from material condition must always keep his mind under control. And then he quotes Bhakti Saraswati Maharaj used to say, beat the mind with shoes 100 times, and before going to bed, beat the mind 100 times with the broomstick. In this way, the mind can be kept under control. This is by force. There are other ways of controlling the mind also. Uncontrolled mind and unchaste wife are the same. Unchaste wife can kill her husband anytime, and uncontrolled mind, followed by lust, anger, greed, can certainly kill the yogi. When the yogi is controlled by the mind, he falls down into the material condition. One should be very careful of the mind, just as husband should be careful of an unchaste wife. See, wife is there, he has to live with her, and he knows she's unchaste, and how much worried the husband will be. Generally, the family life is home sweet home, no? There's a lot of trust in that. But imagine if the wife is unchaste, then what will the condition of the husband? That is the kind of alertness the yogi has to show. He has to live with the mind, but always be careful the mind can turn away and cheat at any time. And actually, whatever difficulties one face in life, manaha param karanam. Avanti Brahmana says that actually it is ultimately the effect of mind, not anything else. And that's why Krishna spent so much time in explaining about the mind, how to control the mind, how powerful is the mind. Arjuna verifies. Arjuna says, I can control the raging wind, but I cannot. Vayu revasa dushkaram. Controlling tornadoes and hurricanes is easier, but Vayu revasa dushkaram. Compared to Vayu, this is dushkaram. This is more difficult to control. So only thing is one has to be very very careful, and one has to live a life of great regulation and great submissiveness. Then one can control, because mind can be counteracted only by Guru's instruction. Guru Sadhu Shastra's instruction can only control the mind's demands. So if we are not having this part, then we will naturally get followed up by this part. Because otherwise, those people who don't know about the Guru Sadhu Shastra, they get carried away mind only. They think, this is what I am, this is what I want to do, this is how I should do. But somebody who has Guru Sadhu Shastra, they say, no, this is not to be done. So one has to be very careful in applying Guru Sadhu Shastra's instruction in one's life. Anything you want to do, we should always feel, is it Shastrik? Because if it is not Shastrik, then it will definitely cost you. Yes, Shastra vidhim utsarja, vartate kamakaram, natu siddhim avapnoti, na sukham, na param gatin. So when we want to do something, take some decision or any activity, anything, should see, is it Shastrik? Is it meant for a brahmachari to be done? Brahmachari dharma is there. No? So brahmachari dharma is there to remain away from women. That is what Narad Muni is teaching. Correct? He says that brahmacharis are like the pots of butter, and woman is like fire. When the butter pot and fire come together, the butter has to melt. And Radhanath Maharaj adds, even if the butter is in the fridge for 20 years, in ISKCON Pune Brahmachari Ashram refrigerator, kept in the community kitchen, temperature of minus 18 degrees Celsius, still take out the butter and keep it near fire. It's dharma. It's dharma of the butter to melt in the presence of fire. You can't change it. So only possibility is to keep away. And that is why the 9th instruction we have is, one should interact with women only for the purpose of essential service. That's all. And whether there is service or not, who will decide? It has to be confirmed. No? We should not create services by calling Mate, I want to engage in service. Can I do this? One has to be very careful to see whether it's my service or somebody else should do it. And just for the sake of service, that's all. Because as we grow senior, even in ashram or society, Prabhupada already wrote in the last purport, it's difficult. So it's difficult in any community, any society, for anyone, some interaction happens. But care has to be exercised only for the purpose of service. And two things, no private talk, no personal talk. Then we are quite safe. But once we cross these two boundaries, then we will end up in trouble. Private talk means what? Nobody else is there. Only that Mata is there and we are there. That's all. Two. So that's why with Mata there's formula 2 plus 1. Either there's one devotee talking to two Matajis, or there are two, Prabhus or two men talking to one Mataji. This 1 plus 1 is very risky. Nobody knows what's happening. So no private talk. And now what to do? This mobile makes it private. Right? Mobile makes it private. You don't know who is sending message, what is the message, how it is, what it is. Message, email. Earlier these things are not there. You talk only. Or somebody will write a letter, that to be hard copy letter, it can be tested. Now nothing, you can read and delete it also. So that's our responsibility to not create that privacy. Because if we create it, we will be like the silkworm which will die in the cocoon. Now, we are at risk. For our safety, we should not create privacy. Anything, mobile, laptop, talk. So no private talk, no one-on-one talk. Only with our immediate family member, mothers with their sisters, that's a different thing, as per the need, not much. But even cousin sisters, they can create problems too, because these days, in India, in the Western world, even within family members, lust is so rampant. Within family members, their relationship. In US, it's so common. Even in India, it is called incest, Incest. So, point is that the world has become so corrupted that one can't trust anything. Even one's own, sometimes there is sister-in-law or cousin sister, and so many cases come of that kind. Sometimes maid servant. So no privacy, no private talk, just as a law. You know about Prabhupada and Bhakti Saraswati Maharaj example. Bhakti Saraswati Maharaj, the disciple came, and the lady said, Guru Maharaj, I want to speak to you personally. He said, no, whatever you do to speak, you speak in public. Prabhupada, same thing. Shrutagiri Prabhu tells, you are talking to his sister. Prabhupada is already 75, sister is there, and Shrutagiri Prabhu is called. Do you want me to be alone? Don't you want to protect me? He told the pastor many times in Mayapur. This is standard. No private talk. And it includes e-communication. Like in my service, I had to interact sometimes with Mataji. So I have made a group. I don't talk with the Mataji. I have made a group. Mataji, her husband and me. 3 people group. There are 2 or 3 such groups. So anything you'll write, whether husband don't know, but at least somehow or another there's a proof, and there's a caution, there's a third person, Paramatma kind of person watching. It's so risky, when it turns into thing, we don't know. It doesn't happen that all of a sudden some Mataji will come with the garland and put on the brahmachari. It is not like that. It never happens like that. It always has a background. And because we're not careful in the background, it comes in the foreground. It always starts with something very small. And one brahmachari sang very nicely, Shayan Darshan Kirtan Kunja Vihari. So absorbing. So I was also there, nice kirtan. And some girl sent a message, Prabhuji, today's kirtan was so nice. I'm sure Radha Kunjivihari must be very happy. Nice thing. Nothing, it doesn't look like it's going anywhere wrong. It's nice. And Brahmachari was like, we don't sleep in the night, so Mataji has commented. Thank you very much. And I appreciate your appreciation, this and that. And then the Mataji started attending more kirtan, the Brahmachari started doing more kirtan, the appreciation increased, and some point of time, Brahmachari said, no, Mataji, don't write me anything, it is not good and all. She just continued, and finally he moved out. Just that one SMS, it began with one SMS. And then finally it ended up in moving out of the ashram. So it may look very small in the beginning, but if there's a privacy, then the heart is affected. Lord Kapila Dev says that except for Lord Narayan, nobody is free from lust. It's so powerful. We should not feel that now that we are not able to experience it, not that. It's all there. When it will just upsurge like a tsunami or like a volcano, we don't know. Anytime mind can go crazy. So no private talk. Anytime, on any medium. That's a safety guard, safeguard. And no personal talk. When you're talking about some service, talk of some service. Nothing like, how's your husband doing? How's your japa going on? Are you able to chant in well? Is your chanting going on well? Are you attentive in chanting? Which canto Bhagavatam are you reading? Have you read Chaitanya Charitamrita? Nothing. What you have to give and take? You ask your counselors what they're doing. You don't have to get personal. Because ladies are very emotional. And brahmacharis are very capable people because they have all the time, energy, and they have shastric knowledge. They're very powerful personalities. So Raisham said there are 4 kinds of women which are very dangerous. Right? Young unmarried girls, definitely. Widowed lady also, because if somebody has become widow, they are still looking for shelter. And divorced lady also, and unsatisfied lady. Husband is in America. Yeah. So dissatisfied ladies, divorcee ladies, widowed ladies, husband not in town. They look for the shelter, and when they interact, even their intention is not that, we are going in that direction. Their intention is just to feel good and have some inspiration, some some words of encouragement and somebody to talk to. That's all. Some shastric guidance. But eventually it just turns into that whole thing. I mean, many times there are brahmacharis who are taking courses and classes and they finally end up in getting into trouble. Because it all started as a class and it's all a shastric class. It's all what is talked about is shastra. But somehow, because the ladies have the sixth sense, if they sense some kind of weakness and they also are looking for that, then they will capture it. Because they know it. They know it. Definitely they know it. I have personal experience of that. One girl wrote to Radhesham about me, writing that we know, we have the sixth sense, we can sense who is of what mentality. So anyway, we dealt with it, whatever else we dealt with it. But they can know it actually. 100% confirmed, they can tell. So, and we are not free from that. We are just grown up in age and years, but lust never becomes old. Desires never get old. Our hair may become old, shikha may get white, and everything else may be old, but the desires never turn grey. They always remain very fresh. So, no private talk, no personal talk. And Rajasham's formula shutters down. If you do that, then you are saved from everything. Because whatever you don't see, you can't contemplate. Whatever you don't see and hear, you can't contemplate. What? Because mind needs some input, not some trigger. So shutters down, you keep shutters down. Easy, but it's not easy to keep the shutters down. That's the challenge. So one has to be very, very careful. Otherwise, one will lose the golden opportunity to make advancement and go ahead when we get captured in so many different ways. Kamo manyarmado lobha shoka moha bhayadaya karma bandhasya yanmula swikuryat konu tad buddha.
The mind is the root cause of lust, anger, pride, greed, lamentation, illusion, and fear. Combined, this constitute bondage to fruity activity. What learned man would put faith in the mind?
They're asking, that Swikuryat konu tad buddha. Who will accept? If one is really learned, one knows the nature of the mind as is being described here, and who will put faith in the mind? So mind is the original cause of material bondage. It is followed by many enemies, such as anger, pride, greed, lamentation, illusion, fear. The best way to control the mind is to engage it always in Krishna consciousness. So why mana Krishna pada arvindi. Since the followers of the mind bring about material bondage, we should be very careful not to trust the mind. The mind has to be engaged actually. In Krishna consciousness, engagement in service plays a very vital role in protecting us. If we engage in service with our full energy and right consciousness, then we are very protected. Prabhupada gave us that system. But if we do not put our full energy and we have remaining time and energy, then the mind will really cheat us. Right? That's why Jiva Goswami said there is dhana kapati who does not give dhana, wealth, in the service of the Lord. And somebody is lazy, he does not use intelligence in serving the Lord. And there is balakapati. Balakapati means he has that strength and the energy and the capacity, but he doesn't use it. So that it's very difficult for the balakapati to make advancement, because unless we really put all our effort in serving Krishna with right attitude, with a grateful heart that I have got the opportunity to serve, that is my good fortune. It is not that the institution needs service. It is not that the temple needs service department. They were all running. Now you go home, are they not running? I was at home for 40 days at one time, and I really got thorough realization that although I'm quite busy when I'm here, but everything else just goes on. All festivals happened, all events happened, Sunday feast happened, everything went on. After 1 week, everyone stopped calling us. But fortunately, I was attending morning program and, the class every day. So I knew who is giving class and who is the guest coming. And morning program, Zoom is a very big benediction. Since I was feeling connected. But it went on. So we are not indispensable when it comes that we are having some service. It's our rare good fortune. That is the attitude. Because again, if the attitude comes that I am the doer, then even after serving, then you'll become proud. That is another problem of mind. Right? So we have to serve, but still remain humble. Then one is safe, one is protected. So let's see what Vishnu Jagadish Thakur says here. Yeah. The cause is explained here. The mind of the trusting yogi gives an opportunity to lust and its follower, anger and greed, which are enemies. Just as the prostitute trusted by her husband gives opportunity to her lover and has her husband killed, the mind makes the yogi fall from his position by lust and other desires. And then it says that what intelligent person would, believe in mind? Now it may appear so simple, but see, Srimad Bhagavatam time and again shows the example of great personalities, not ordinary personalities. 9th canto is filled with that. 10th canto is Samam Bonam. 9th canto, maximum stories are there about material lust. Correct? Why? Because unless one gives up this, one cannot attain prema. Kama and prema both cannot go well together. One has to understand the nature of kama and try to give it up and try to develop prema. Of course, developing prema is a way of rejecting kama, but one has to understand that very well. Vikriditam Vijavadhumitam cha Vishnu. If one hears about Krishna's pastimes with gopis in the right conscience, that itself is a medicine for the disease of kama. But one has to first at least understand and see that how powerful the problem is, how powerful the enemy is. Who are the people about whom the narrations are there? Pururva Maharaj. Huh? Pururva Maharaj is not ordinary person. He was so glorious, so powerful, that his glories were sung in heavens. That's how Urvashi got attracted. She heard about him, not in the newspaper of the New York Times or India Times. She heard it in heavens, glorified in heaven for his providence. And that personal Pururva, what happened to him out of lust? Aila Geet, Gulakesh Prabhu taking in full rasa. He took it once in Kunjaveri, that's why we requested him to take again, but he has to complete it. And Maharaj Pururva shares a realization how powerful the lust is. It is not by knowledge. You see, Mahashano Mahapapma Buddhi yen it covers up the intelligence. It covers it up. It does not allow the intelligence to function. One knows, but one can't act as per it. And one can become shameless when the lust attacks. Pururva Maharaj, such a powerful Kshatriya king. Can you imagine taking a sword and going in without wearing clothes at night? And then Urvashi leaves, and then he's just going around the trees and singing the blues and the romantic songs of Bollywood movies and asking, "Where are you? Are you there behind the tree? Are you there behind the leaves? Are you there by the side of the river?" It was like another Gopi Git. I like it. Becomes so mad for that. And Urvashi comes and tells face on face, women are like foxes. She herself is telling that. So they're very cunning. At the least moment, they can cheat. And still, Pururva said, no, you are just joking, actually. You're so good. Can you imagine the kind of coverage which comes? Gemini Rishis got so much covered. Some Purana, some places they say that Vyasadeva in the form of woman, he said that you have to become like a horse and I will sit on your back and you have to climb over the mountain, then only I'll marry you. A Gemini Rishi with all his long beard and writing Mahabharata and all the scholarly thing and all was so tempted, he became a horse and he sat and went up. And then he said, now I'm ready. And he turned back and he saw Vyasadeva. He said, I will marry you. Just think about it, what it takes. People go mad. I don't know any one of you have that infatuation or not. I had few, so I can relate. I'm not the right person to give this talk, but a lot of struggle, but I'm just sharing my thoughts loud to get some strength to deal with these things. People write letters with blood in the college hostel. They become so crazy. And the girl even doesn't know he's a boy. The boy become one-sided madness. One-sided madness. It's not that sometimes they're two-sided. No, one-sided madness. In Bharati Vidyapit, when we were preaching, there was a boy who would not break the fast unless he will see that girl's, unless he is a darshanarthi. That. And she went to her hometown. 2 days the boy did not eat anything. He was admitted in hospital. Such austerity, can you imagine? Such conviction. We take, फास्ट ब्रेकिंग 6 बजे ये तो बोलेंगे निर्जल एकादशी का दर्शनार्थी तो है ना 7:30 बजे, और भगवान थोड़ी बांध के भाग के जा रहे हैं, अंदर से फ्लावर लेके ऑफर कर देंगे, गोविंदवाद पुरुषम हम गा लेंगे, नहीं होगा तो क्या, you know, such crazy thing. You can't imagine what all people can do, how much money they can waste, what all risk they can take of their life. Craziness. Yayati Maharaj, not an ordinary person. Yayati Maharaj is Yadu dynasty. It's coming from Yayati Maharaj. What kind of madness even? He already has a wife, already has children. He's begging his sons, you know, you give me your youth and you take my old age because I want to enjoy at your cost. I mean, how much shame it takes to do that? That's not, I mean, generally parents get married to the sons and they say, okay, now you enjoy. But lust makes one totally shameless. Shantanu Maharaj, when he got attracted to Mother Ganga, to Shantanu Maharaj got attracted. After that, Satyavati, Matsakanya. He becomes so infatuated, he becomes so moral and all. The son has to sacrifice his marriage for pleasing his father. Of course, there's another perspective of Mahabharata, but I'm just talking in this perspective. Yeah, it's literally like that. He said, I will not get married. If that is the case. They took that Vishnu Pratika. So, lust, what it can do to us, if we can just learn by reading scriptures and seeing the examples around, then we are saved. And if we are not careful and we have to go through it, it's very painful, it's a time waster, and it creates many, many different impressions which are difficult to wipe. So, best is कृपया उचित दूरी बनाए रखें. ट्रक के पीछे लिखा रहता है ना, ट्रक के पीछे देखा, सावधान कृपया उचित दूरी बनाए रखें. कभी कभी तो लिखा रहता है inflammable material inside. You have seen that? It's there on the nitrogen trucks and all. There, inflammable material inside. Please keep 30 meters away. ट्रेन कोच में भी रहता है, बट ट्रक में भी रहता है, वो ट्रक रहता है लंबा, उसमें भी रहता है इनफ्लेमेबल मटेरियल इनसाइड, प्लीज कीप एटलीस्ट 30 मीटर अवे बिकॉज एक्सीडेंट कैन हैपन. तो वैसे ही कृपया उचित दूरी बनाए रखें. तो नजदीक भी जाना है तो ज्यादा देर हीट के साथ नहीं रहना है, नहीं तो बटर मेल्ट होना शुरू हो जाएगा. जाके अपना सेवा का बात करके आ जाओ. ज्यादातर लोगों को सेवा कम ही है, बट फिर भी as we grow and take leadership role, then it's a community, no? So you can't, you know. Fortunately, Pune, we have ultra protected people. Even if we do something, there are other vigilant eyes to really bring thing in time. You know, Garland Seva Mataji's broadcast is there. Even if nothing is there, they will talk about something. Something is there, then it's protection actually. It's really protection because many people who were warned at the right time, they are now very big leaders also. But then if somebody hides it, somebody doesn't tell it and just hiding it, then it's trying to cheat, then he'll get cheated. Nobody can cheat Krishna. One may say that I'm cheating my authorities and I have WhatsApp, but this, that. Well, whom are you trying to cheat? Krishna is their ultimate. It is Krishna's place. We are all Krishna servants. So, honesty is the best policy. If there is something, some problem coming, you go and better tell it. If our mind is disturbed for some reason, we better consult and follow that. Anything adharmic is not good. So after telling that, now he continues about the description of what what Rishabdev Maharaj further did. So he continues with that. Yeah, please read.
Lord Rishabdev was the head of all kings and emperors within this universe, but assuming the race and language of an Avaduta, he acted as if dull and materially bound. Consequently, no one could observe his divine opulence. He adopted this behavior just to teach yogis how to give up the body. Nonetheless, he maintained his original position as a plenary expansion of Lord Vasudeva, Krishna. Remaining always in that state, he gave up his pastimes as Lord Rishabdev within the material world. If, following in the footsteps of Lord Rishabdev, one can give up his subtle body, there is no chance that one will accept a material body again.
Yeah. So we read in the last chapter how he left and he assumed the dress language of Avadhuta. He acted as if dull and materially bound. So his opulence got covered. And he was teaching how the yogis should give up the body by going in seclusion, not by showing off in any way. So he says, Janma karma chame divyam. This is possible simply by keeping oneself an eternal servant of the Supreme Lord. One must understand his constitutional position and the constitutional position of the Supreme Lord as well. Maintaining oneself as a servant of the Supreme Lord, one should avoid rebirth in this material world. If one keeps himself spiritually fit and thinks of himself as the eternal servant of the Supreme Lord, he will be successful at the time he has to give up the material body. You see? 3 places in one paragraph Prabhupada talking. This is possible only by keeping oneself as eternal servant. Both have the same spiritual identity, maintaining oneself as a servant of the Lord. One should avoid rebirth. And if one keeps spiritually fit, one paragraph 3 times to consider oneself as the spiritual, eternal servant of the Lord. And in Dasyam section of Navada Bhakti Prabhupada writes that even if one is not able to practice any other limb, but one simply consider oneself as an eternal servant of the Lord and try to live in that spirit, he will attain all perfection. But it is not just that we say I'm a servant, but we don't serve. We have to meditate on what it means to be servant of the Lord, how to behave, how to conduct ourselves, how to take further things. That's very important thing. Okay.
Actually, Lord Rishabdev had no material body, but due to Yogamaya, he considered his body material, and therefore, because he played like an ordinary human being, he gave up the mentality of identifying with it. Following the principle, he began to wander all over the world. While traveling, he came to the province of Karnataka in South India, passed through Konka, Venka, Kutaka, and he had no plan to travel this way. But he arrived near Kutakachala and entered the forest there. He placed stones within his mouth and began to wander through the forest naked and with his hair disheveled like a madman.
So his appearance has already been described. He was like a ghost haunted person. He was very beautiful. His features were all beautiful. He's all beautiful is the Supreme Lord. But at the same time, he was covered with dust and rolling in the stool and urine. He was disheveled. He was naked. So like that. So actually, he has a spiritual body. But to set an example for the yogis, ordinary human being, he gave up the mentality of identifying with the body. His body and self are same, so it's not for him. It's same transcendental. He has nothing like that. He had a body. His body is spiritual only. But he is setting an example for the yogis who want to give up the body in this way too, not identify with the body. Then he traveled through all these provinces which are mentioned. Yeah.
While he was wandering about, a wild forest fire began. This fire was caused by the friction of bamboos, which were being blown by the wind. In that fire, the entire forest near Kutakachala and the body of Lord Rishabdev were burned to ashes. So
this wild forest fire began. Now it's going on in Los Angeles. I don't know it's over or not, but I heard it was going on. So this was caused by the friction of bamboos, and the entire forest was burned. Now body of Lord Rishabdev were burned to ashes, but actually the spiritual body cannot be burned because that sloka is there, na? Jnanam chindanti shastrani, jnanam dahati pavaka. It cannot be burned by fire. It's a pure spiritual body. But because of presence of Lord Rishabdev, all other living entities in the forest, even the plants and the trees and the animals and the reptiles, they all got liberated because they all had his darshan and the fortune of being with him, and he transcended to the spiritual plane. Such a forest fire can burn the external bodies of animals, but Lord Rishabdev was not burned. Lord Rishabdev is the super soul of all living entities in the forest, and his soul is never burnt by fire. Due to Lord Rishabdev's presence, all the animals in the forest are also liberated from material engagement. So this is how he left. And then this King Arhat, he heard about that, and then he introduced a new system of religion. And taking advantage of Kali Yuga, the age of sinful activity, King Arhat being bewildered, gave up the Vedic principle. Vedic principle were to be followed, which are free from risk, and concocted a new system of religion opposed to Vedas. This was the beginning of Jain Dharma. And then now Jain Dharma is so popular. They have a whole exhibition, they have a whole set of scripture, they have a whole set of writing. We had gone there. Who was there? There in that drama, na? Hindu Seva Samsthan, that all that. Jain, they had such a big tent and all their acharyas they had, and they have a whole library thing, and they're all researching into that. So now it has become so big. So it is a non-Vedic practice actually. And Prabhupada says that even when Krishna was on the planet, a person named Pondrak imitated Lord Narayan and declared himself to be the Supreme Lord. Similarly, during the time of Rishabdev, the king of Konka and Venka acted like a Paramahamsa and imitated Lord Rishabdev. And he started a new religion. And in not mentioned, Karnataka means mostly Karnataka. Konkan means Konkan religion. Karnataka start from there, no? They look like natural in that. So people in this age will be more inclined to accept anyone as the Supreme Lord and accept any religious system opposed to Vedic principles. Manda Sumanda Matayo. They have no spiritual culture, therefore they are very fallen. Following non-Vedic principle in this age, they think themselves the Supreme Lord and thus spread the cult of atheism all over the world. They have, no? They have this in Jain, they call Tirthankar, they call it. Tirthankars. From Mahavir Jain, the Tirthankars. And they say they are Brahmaleen. They are impersonalist actually, at the best. Atheist at the least. And they are not very clear about what they practice, what they do. It's a very ritualistic religion, what happens with that. Huh? Rishabdev is the one. But they should read the teaching. Prabhupada will call it that they should read the teaching on that. Okay, next one, let's read.
People who are lowest among men and bewildered by the illusory energy of the Supreme Lord will give up the original Varnashram Dharma and its rules and regulations. They will abandon bathing 3 times daily and worship the Lord and worshipping the Lord. Abandoning cleanliness and neglecting the Supreme Lord, they will accept nonsensical principles. Not regularly bathing or washing their mouths regularly, they will always remain unclean and they will pluck out their hair. Following a concocted religion, they will flourish. During this age of Kali, people are more inclined to irreligious systems. Consequently, these people will naturally deride Vedic authority. The followers of Vedic authority, the Brahmanas, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and the devotees.
So they give up the original Varnashram Dharma, its regulation, and they, follow a very dirty culture. But they will flourish. And they are flourishing. At highway, every 5 kilometers you will find a Jain temple and guest house. Because they walk still. We go in cars and all, but they still walk. And now there are a lot of ladies also in that. In this Jain, they call them sadhvis or whatever. So there are a lot of ladies also practice. And they practice severe austerities. Now we do one nirjal, but in Jain religion, nirjal is like what is a child also does it. And these sadhus, they do Chaturmas for 4 months and hardly they eat. They just take water in this, that chullu. They call it chullu, this one. They just drink a little bit and just sustain. So practicing austerity is their prime thing. And they will not shave up with a, what do you call that, lotion. Some devotees have that foam also. The press it and foam comes out. And triple blade razor. Shave up and you see, it's nice. Not like that. They'll just put some ash and just put it and pluck it. And that is their training. They are sadhus, sannyasis, and the brahmacharis are called shullak. Shullak means they are trainees, PDCs in their thing. And they wear white and they are with the sadhu. And they observe the austerity and that is their future. So once I was sitting with them, I was asking them. And they have to practice that, plucking the hair from the face and from the head. Imagine? अपना तो ब्लेड खराब हो गया तो 2 बार में रेज शेविंग करके ब्लेड को फेंक देते हैं नया यूज एंड थ्रो जिलेट फ्रेश थ्रो so that is there but they have no philosophy. They want to merge into something. They have no clear understanding of what is the supreme goal, how to attain it. There are no sadhana and no sadhya. They're just austerities. But because austerities are very impressive, the grasthas are highly एक बार एक साधु ने तपस्या कर लिया 4 महीना तो उसका फास्ट ब्रेकिंग के लिए बोली लगती है. In Jain religion, if some of you know, बोली लगती है तो वो बोलेगा 1 करोड़ साधु महाराज मेरे घर पे आएंगे और मैं इनको पहला भोजन कराऊंगा या पानी पिलाऊंगा जो भी. दूसरा बोलेगा 1 करोड़ 1.5 करोड़. तो एक साधु के एक चतुर्मास की ऑस्टेरिटी से एक गेस्ट हाउस और मंदिर बन जाता है. They don't touch money. They just tell ठीक है 2 करोड़ आया मंदिर बना दो. Just made and quite gorgeous temple. We are thankful to Shatrunjaya Jain temple. We did so many camps there. So many camps. I mean, I don't think they ever did so many programs there. The Brahmachari camp or Nityananda Sabha camp, Gaurang Sabha camp. So many camps we did in new and old. We stayed there, did kirtan. Very impressive temple. Very. और एक जो पहाड़ के ऊपर है उधर कथरज में आगम मंदिर or something. Very artistic. हमारा तो मंदिर मार्बल का ही बनता है. उनका पत्थर से very good temples in that sense. But no philosophy, no practice. Only once or twice in a year, everyone will gather and do something. Other times, nowadays they don't even follow the practice of ahimsa also. Jain also, they eat in hotel, they eat anything, everything. The culture is degrading so much. But they still flourish because of this concocted austerities also. Prabhupada said, presently the hippies in the Western countries fit this description. They are irresponsible, unregulated, do not bathe, they deride Vedic knowledge, they concoct new self lifestyles and religion. And there are many hippie groups at the present, but they're all originated from King Arhat. King Arhat did not care for the fact that although Lord Rishabdev acted like a madman, his stool and urine were nonetheless aromatic. Followers of Arhat went under the name Jains and later followed many other, particularly by the hippies. No, hippies may never know who is Arhat, but Prabhupada just seeing the comparison of their life is saying they are the followers of Arhat. So they don't respect the Brahmanas, they don't respect the Supreme Lord, and they concoct false religious systems.
Low class people, due to their gross ignorance, introduce a system of a religion that deviates from the Vedic principles. Following their own mental concoction, they automatically fall down into the darkest region of existence.
So this is concocted religion, not the Vedic religion. The Vedic religion is the path given by the Lord for gradual elevation of the living entity to the spiritual realm. But whatever concocted system is there, it does not have the capacity to lead one to advancement. Prabhupada doesn't try much. He said this is a description of the fall down of the asuras. I am avataro rajaso papluta keval yopishka anurtha. In this age of Kali, people are overwhelmed by the mode of passion, ignorance. Lord Rishabdev incarnated himself to deliver them from the clutches of Maya. This is a good purpose, right? Symptoms of Kali are predicted in 12th canto, Lavanyam Keshadharanam. They predicted how fallen souls will behave. They will keep long hair, pluck out their hair, will keep themselves unclean. If such people are serious followers of Rishabdev, they must also take his instructions. In the 5th chapter of this canto, he gave his 100-son instruction. If one actually follows Rishabdev, he will certainly be delivered from the clutches of Maya and return back home, back to Godhead. If one strictly follows the instruction given in the 5th chapter, he will certainly be liberated. Lord Rishabdev incarnated specifically to deliver these fallen souls. His instruction must be followed, then they can be delivered. Now the glories of Tasyanu Gunana Slokan Gayanti. Aho Bhuvah Sapta Samudravatya Dvipeshu Varshevadi Punyametat Gayanti Yatra Jana Murare Karmani Bhadranya Avataravanti.
Land scholars chant about the transcendental qualities of Lord Rishabhadev in this way. Oh, this earthly planet contains 7 seas and many islands and lands, of which Bharatvarsha is considered the most pious. People of Bharatvarsha are accustomed to glorifying the activities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead in his incarnation as Lord Rishabhadev and others. All these activities are very auspicious for the welfare of humanity.
So this is how learned scholars are describing the qualities of Rishabdev. Bharatvarsha is the most pious among the Dvipas and Davarshas. And there people are accustomed to glorify the activities of Supreme Lord. And Prabhupada takes that word Bharatvarsha. So he says, Bharat Bhumite Manujanam Hoile Jar Janusartha Kari Karo Paropkar. So the followers of the Vedic literature understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead in his different incarnations. They are privileged to glorify the Lord by following the direction of Vedic literature. After realizing the glories of human life, such people should take up the mission to spread the importance of human life throughout the whole world. This is the mission of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. This is the mission of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. The word Adhi Punyam indicates that there are certainly many other pious men throughout the world, but the people of Bharatvarsha are even more pious. Adhi Punyam. Therefore, they are fit to spread Krishna consciousness throughout the world for the benefit of all human society. And Srila Madhvacharya also recognized the land of Bharatvarsha. Visheshad Bharate Punyam. Throughout the world, there is no question of Bhagavad Bhakti or devotion service, but the people of Bharatvarsha can easily understand the devotion service of the Lord. Thus, every inhabitant of Bharatvarsha can perfect his life by discharging Bhagavad Bhakti and then preaching this cult throughout the world for the benefit of everyone. So, Bharatvarsha, wherever it comes, Prabhupada is emphatic about we have taken birth and we are all born in Bharatvarsha. So, it's our duty to practice intensely and preach vigorously. That is the solution, not the. There's no other solution than to practice and preach Krishna consciousness. all other things which happen at national level, international level, global level, or even local level, solution is only one. Practice intensely, preach vigorously. If our practice is perfect, then we ourselves can feel of not being entangled by the material realm. We can at least have some feeling that I'm not of this world. I'm not this material body. I do not belong to this material world. It's temporary. It keeps on functioning in its own way. And then preach vigorously. Talking about people and what nonsense they do is of no good use. But if you preach and even inspire 1%, 2%, tomorrow, who knows? They may become a very big person and they may influence many others. And we have done our duty at least to the Supreme Lord. You see, Prabhupada preached to one George Harrison and how much influence he has. Actually, the biggest factor in ISKCON's spreading in those days, in those 11 years, the biggest factor, the biggest thing which happened was George Harrison singing songs with Hare Krishna Mantra. He reached it to wherever there was a gramophone record, people are hearing Hare Krishna. And that created such an auspicious atmosphere that wherever devotees will go, they will just show, this is Krishna book, George Harrison has written the. Yeah. So that was very emphatic. And you may not be able to imagine, but that's what the impact of George Harrison was. India, it was not that much, but foreign countries, everyone was hearing George Harrison. They were at the top of the world. So practicing and preaching, that is our dharma. Aho nivamsho yashashavadataha praya vrato yatra pumana purana krutavataraha purushah sadhya sacha dharmam yad karma hetum.
Oh, what shall I say of the dynasty of Privrata, which is pure and very much celebrated? In that dynasty, the Supreme Person, the original personality of God, had descended as an incarnation and executed religious principles that could free one from the results of fruitive activities.
So glorifying. There are many dynasties, like Lord Krishna appears in Yadu dynasty, Ramchandani, Ikshvaku dynasty. Similarly, Lord Rishabdev appeared in the dynasty of King Prevat. All the dynasties are very famous, and of them, the dynasty of Prevat is most famous. Konvasya kasthan aparo anugache manorathena pi abhavasya yogi yo yoga maya isprati udasta hiya satta yena krita prayatanaha.
Who is that mystic yogi who can follow the examples of Lord Rishabdev even with his mind? Lord Rishabdev rejected all kinds of yogic perfection, which all yogis hanker to attain. Who is that yogi who can compare to Lord Rishabdev?
So generally, yogis desire the perfection of this anima, lahima, lagima, mahima. Rishabdev, however, never aspired for this material thing. They are presented by the illusionary energy of the Lord. The real purpose of the yoga is to achieve the favor and shelter of the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But this purpose is covered by the illusory potency of Yogamaya. And such yogis are therefore allured by superficial material perfection. So consequently, ordinary yogis cannot compare to Lord Rishabdev, who rejected these siddhis.
Lord Rishabdev is the master of all Vedic knowledge, human beings, demigods, cows, and brahmanas. I have already explained his pure transcendental activities, which will vanquish the sinful activities of all living entities. This narration of Lord Rishabdev's pastimes is the reservoir of all auspicious things. Whoever attentively hears or speaks of them, following the footsteps of the acharyas, will certainly attain unalloyed devotional service at the lotus feet of Lord Vasudev, the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
So this is the Falashruti. This narration of Lord Rishabdev is reservoir of all auspicious things. Whoever attentively hears or speaks of them, following the footsteps of the acharyas, will certainly attain unalloyed devotional service. So Prabhupada died. The teachings of Lord Rishabdev are for the people of all ages, but especially Kali Yuga. These instructions are so powerful that even in this age of Kali, one can attain perfection simply by explaining the instruction, following the footsteps of the acharyas. You see, these instructions are so powerful that even in this age of Kali, one can attain perfection simply by explaining the instruction, following the footsteps of the Acharya, or listening to the instruction with great attention. If one does so, one can attain the platform of pure devotion service to Lord Vasudeva. So they are all recorded in Srimad Bhagavatam and Nityam Bhagavad Sevaya. As a matter of principle, devotees should read, hear, and speak Srimad Bhagavatam persistently, 2 hours a day possible. कितना लिखा? 24 hours a day possible. That is the recommendation of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. One should either chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra or read Srimad Bhagavatam, thereby try to understand the characteristic and instruction of Supreme Lord. So, Prabhupada writing in a purport. Actually, devotee has a life at a different plane, where he chants, hears, serves, and he actually does not interact the material plane. He interacts only as much as required for the sake of preaching or whatever. But actually, he lives in a different world. ऐसे बोलते हैं ना, आप दूसरी दुनिया में रहते हैं. तो वास्तव में हमको दूसरी दुनिया में रहना है, क्योंकि है ही दूसरी दुनिया, भक्ति की दुनिया दूसरी दुनिया है. तो हम लोग लगता है हमको दूसरी दुनिया बोल रहा है, हमको इसी दुनिया में रहना है. इसको पता है क्रिकेट में कल कौन जीता, इसको पता है इलेक्शन में क्या हुआ, मेरे को पता नहीं है, कल इंटरनेट लैब पे बैठ के देख नहीं पाया. We really have to strive that none of these things matter for us. You can try it. 1 month be unaware of anything. बस मॉर्निंग फॉर्म करना है, ब्रह्मचर्य क्लास करना है, सेवा करना है, बस. कुछ लाइफ में फर्क नहीं पड़ता है, लाइफ चलता रहता है. But because of whatever reason, especially for brahmacharis, because there is extra time, that extra time is the killer time, we should know. Because our mind has not come to goodness yet. And mind has not come to goodness yet, then passionate mind will think of wrong things, will think of passionate things. So that is why the passion of mind has to be balanced by the passion of body. So body को लगाने का, body को कुछ सेवा करते हैं तो mind का passion भी थोड़ा कम हो जाता है उसमें. So one has to be extra careful, because for grasthas there is a call ना, बॉस का कॉल आएगा, आज आया नहीं, आज ओवर टाइम करना है, प्रोजेक्ट का डेडलाइन आ गया, इतना करना ही है. हाँ, रात को बच्चा रोने लगा, चुप ही नहीं हो रहा है, तो सुबह डॉक्टर के पास लेके जाना ही है. I mean, they have a lot of ad-hocs and they can't call कि ad-hoc के लिए मैं ही मिला गया, ऐसा कोई बोल ही नहीं सकता है, क्योंकि ad-hoc उसने खुद क्रिएट किया है. He has gone into life. So they have a lot of engagements. You can, I mean, some of your friends, if they're there, they can ask them their schedule. Just to live with the wife and take care of parents and family life is not easy. Constantly there are botherations and engagements. ब्रह्मचारी का क्या है कि कुछ है तो ठीक है, नहीं है तो नहीं है. कोई ऐसा हमारे से इमरजेंसी क्राइसिस एडॉक थोड़े आते हैं. And our structure is quite robust in the sense now we are involving a lot of grasta, like festivals. And festival has become independent of brahmacharis. Totally independent. Kitchen में कोई जाओ मत जाओ, 2-4 लोग जाते हैं कुकिंग के लिए, मुरली मुकुंद प्रभु, ईर्षान प्रभु, कुछ लोग जाते हैं, वंशीधर गोपेश को. Some people go. है तो ठीक है, नहीं तो कुक का टीम है. ट्रांसफरिंग, सर्विंग, वाइंड अप, फेस्टिवल, सबके लिए ग्रस्त लोग आते हैं. एज ए फेस्टिवल लाइक ब्रह्मोत्सव होते हैं, सब अरेंजमेंट वो करते हैं, आप लोग लाइन में लग के अभिषेक करके चले जाओ बस. सो देयर नॉट टू मेनी थिंग. एंड व्हेन वी प्रीच आल्सो, that is up to us how much we prepare for a lecture, how much we guide the boys, how much time we spend in that. So one has to take responsibility of engaging fully in Krishna service. If there's any lack, any gap in the time, mind will create trouble for us. Mind will go into other direction. Mind will think of things, contemplate on things which are not of any direct consequence in our bhakti life. So that is why Mahaprabhu's recommendation, Kirtaniya Sada Hari. Either chant or read Bhagavatam, and we can't do either. 1 घंटे की भागवतम में कल पूछे क्वेश्चन पूछ रहे थे ना, मन नहीं लगता है, स्लो बोलते हैं तो मन भटकता है. देखो भागवतम सुनते सुनते भी तो what to say 24 hours hearing. So better is that okay, do service, and do service which is told, and do service which you can ask and take permission and do that service. Service का variety बहुत है ना. That is the advantage of institution, that all kinds of services are available. Innovation to renovation. And preaching to backup, range is very vast. If you don't have an institution, what service you will have? Suppose I am living with my spiritual master just personally, the only service is to the spiritual master, that's all. Which few people can do other than that? Then what they will do bhajan. 3 बार गोवर्धन परिक्रमा करो, 64 माला करो. Bhajan was very strong in those days, if you see. Goswamis, they used to do bhajan a lot, and then they used to do something. But institution was not there ना. तो प्रीचिंग के लिए कौन जाएगा, फूड फुलाई का खिचड़ी कौन बनाएगा, लोग इतने आ रहे हैं उनका. So many things, na? Institution brings a lot of management, lot of administration, lot of services, but that is all required because people of Kali Yuga are not in goodness. Passion and ignorance is very rampant. Even when we understand the philosophy, modes don't change. Purify that mode of passion and ignorance, we need to engage that under guidance, under regulation. And then gradually after 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 years of service, then mind gradually slows down. You get some realization, you can sit back and read something. Whatever you read, it makes sense too. It takes time. So that's very important. The service is a very, very vital part of our practice to get purified. Okay, text 17.
Devotees always bathe themselves in devotional service in order to be relieved from the various tribulations of material existence. By doing this, the devotees enjoy supreme bliss and liberation personified comes to serve them. Nonetheless, they do not accept that service even if it is offered by the Supreme Personality of Godhead Himself. For the devotees, liberation, mukti, is very unimportant because having attained the Lord's transcendental loving service, they have attained everything desirable and have transcended all material desires.
Yeah. Very nice words. Devotion service is the highest attainment for anyone desiring liberation. Yam ladva cha param labham manyate nadikam tata. Gaining this, one thinks there is no greater gain. When one attains the service of the Lord, which is not different from the Lord, one does not desire anything material. Mukti means relief from material existence. Bilavangal Thakur says, Mukti Mukulitanjali Sevate Sman. For a devotee, Mukti is not a very great achievement. Mukti means being situated in one's constitutional Hitva Anyatha Rupam Swarupena Vyavasthita. That is Mukti. Constitutional position of every living being is that of Lord's servant. Therefore, when a living entity is engaged in the Lord's loving service, he has already attained Mukti. So that service is very liberating. Now this verse, very famous verse. Rajan Patir Guru Alam Bhavatam Yaduna Devam Priya Kulpati Kochaking Karova Asteva Anga Bhagavan Bhajatam Mukundo Muktim Dadati Karechit Smana Bhakti Yogam. Very often quoted verse.
Sukdev Goswami continued, My dear king, the Supreme Person, Mukunda, is actually the maintainer of all the members of the Pandava and Yadu dynasties. He is your spiritual master, worshipable deity, friend, and the director of your activities. To say nothing of this, he sometimes serves your family as a messenger or servant. This means he worked just as ordinary servants do. Those engaged in getting the Lord's favor attain liberation from the Lord very easily, but he does not very easily give the opportunity to render direct service unto him.
Prabhupada writes the translation of Bhakti, Muktim Dadati Karchit Ismana Bhakti Yogam, as give the opportunity to render direct service unto him. So, Srila Vishwanath Thakur explains that how after hearing all this, Parikshit Maharaj felt, oh, Parikshit Maharaj's dynasty is so glorious. Lord came as Rishabdev, Uttanpad, Lord came as Pratu Maharaj, other dynasties, Lord came, and I am not there in the dynasty of the Lord. Lord did not come in our dynasty. So then Sukadeva Goswami encouraged him, saying that, my dear Sukadeva, my dear king, the Supreme Person is actually the maintainer of all the members of Pandava and the Yadu dynasty. He is your spiritual master because he spoke Bhagavad Gita. He is a worshipable deity. The Pandavas will offer worship to him. He is a friend and is the director of your activities. To say nothing of this, he sometimes serves your family as a messenger or a servant, like Duta. He went as a Shanti Duta. And sometimes as a servant, like a Sarthi he was serving. This means he worked just like an ordinary servant do. So this is something extraordinary. In the Brad Bhagavatamritam description comes that when Prahlad Maharaj describes that, Prahlad Maharaj described Hanuman, and Hanumanji say, oh, I just did something, but Lord left me and went. And I'm just trying to serve the Lord, but the Lord whom I'm trying to serve is serving his devotees. And then he described the Pandavas. Just see the Pandavas. He's always there, and what all he's doing, similar verse comes there. What all he's doing? He's their friend, he's their master, he's their servant, he's the chariot driver. He does anything and everything for them. I try to serve my Lord as a servant. And my Lord tries to serve the Pandavas. So how glorious are the Pandavas who are engaging my Lord in service, whom my Lord want to serve. So please go to them. They are the greatest devotees, like that he says. So this is the glory of the Pandavas because they surrendered to Lord completely. Lord surrendered to them completely. Ye athamam prapadyante. Tam sevam bhajami aham. Srila Thakur says, Tam sevam bhajami aham means I do bhajan of my devotees as my devotees do bhajan for me. Tam sathaiv bhajami aham. Bhajami aham can mean I do bhajan for my devotees. So that is the reciprocation of the Lord. So he mentioned, Sukadeva Goswami thought it wise to encourage the king because the king might be thinking of the glorious position of various royal dynasties. So Prathu Maharaj came, Lord Ramchandra came. Yadu and Kuru dynasty. Yadu dynasty more glorious due to appearance of Lord Krishna. Therefore, Parikshit Maharaj encouraged by this particular word. Kuru dynasty may be considered more glorious due to the presence of devotee like the 5 Pandavas who rendered unalloyed devotional service. He was so obligated to the Pandavas that he acted as a maintainer of the family and a spiritual master of the Pandavas. Although he took birth in Yadu dynasty, he was more affectionate to the Pandavas. So by actions he proved, and Kunti Maharani offers beautiful prayer. He says that I am more fortunate than Mother Devaki because she has her husband and Krishna just protected her once. But for me, Krishna gave me protection so many times. Right? Mother Devaki has to lose her 6 sons, but Kunti has to lose her just 1 son because Krishna told, I will bring your 5 sons back. So Kunti Maharani said, the sun can become cool and moon can become hot, but Krishna's promise can never fail. So that example is given that Krishna is Satya Sankalpa. Whatever Sankalpa he takes, it is always true. Yeah, Yashodama is certainly highest. And now between Devaki and Kunti, Kunti is more influenced by the Aishwarya Bhav. Mother Devaki is sometimes influenced by Aishwarya and sometimes in the Vatsalya also. So Rasa wise, yeah, Kunti always aware of the glories of the Lord. Even when the Lord will touch her feet, she was aware that he is the Supreme Lord. Devaki also knows, but at times Krishna makes her forgetful. In between. Sometimes they remember, sometimes they had their affection. Yeah, Devaki had her husband Vasudev. Kunti had no husband. That's why. So both went, but Kunti Maharani herself says that I feel more fortunate than that. Kunti Maharani said. Directly or indirectly, it is proved that Bhakti Yoga is the basis for the supreme relationship with the Supreme Lord. It is far superior to liberation. For a pure devotee, Mukti is automatically attained. Last verse. Nitya Anubhuta Nijalava Nivritta Trishna Sreyas Tadrachanaya Chirasupta Buddhe Lokasya Karunabhyamatma Lokam Akhyan Namo Bhagavate Rishabhyaya Tasmai. So this is the obeisances to Lord Rishabdeva. Rishabhyaya Tasmai. Pardon?
Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Rishabdev, was fully aware of his true identity. Therefore, he was self-sufficient and he did not desire external gratification. There was no need for him to aspire for success, since he was complete in himself. Those who unnecessarily engage in bodily conceptions and create an atmosphere of materialism are always ignorant of their real self-interest. Out of his causeless mercy, Lord Rishabdev taught the self's real identity and the goal of life. We therefore offer our respectful obeisances unto the Lord who appeared as Lord Rishabdev.
So this is the summary of this chapter and the activities of Lord Rishabdev described. Being the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself, Lord Rishabdev is complete in himself. We are part and parcel of the Supreme Lord, should follow the instruction of Lord Rishabdev and become self-sufficient. We should not create unnecessary demand due to the bodily conception. When one is self-realized, he is sufficiently satisfied due to his being situated in his original position. This is very important, that spiritual satisfaction does not come because of the position or possession as we were discussing previously. It comes because of feeling relationship with the Lord and the devotees. Atmaneva atmane tustam. Visyata dhira muni uchyate. Prajahati yada kaman sarvan partho manogatan. Atmaneva atmane tustam. Visyata dhira muni uchyate. It says. Atmaneva atmane tustam. He derives satisfaction in just that I am servant of the Lord. I was not knowing. I was so foolish. I was so ignorant. I wasted my life so many times. After many billions and trillions of lifetime, now finally I know that I am Lord's eternal servant. And just knowing this fact has relieved me for all things, because it's the duty of the master to take care of the servant. I am finally relieved. Just like child is taken care by the mother and father, similarly the Supreme Lord will definitely take care of those who are trying to serve him and surrender to him. That gives him satisfaction, not the insurances and not the security systems and not the bank balances. No, these are not the things on which a devotee depends for security. Security comes when I am Krishna's servant, he will take care. Ordinary master takes care of ordinary servants. So why will Krishna, who is a supreme loving master, we read about his qualities, how Krishna is a loving master, 5 qualities are told. So how will he not take care? How can he reject his servant? That is not within his power to reject his servant. This is the goal of all living entities. Even though one may be situated within this material world, he can become fully satisfied and devoid of hankering and lamentation simply by following the instruction of the Lord as set forth in Bhagavad Gita or Srimad Bhagavatam. Satisfaction through self-realization is called Swarupanand. The conditioned soul, eternally sleeping in darkness, does not understand its self-interest. Simply try to become happy by material adjustment, but this is impossible. Nato vidu swartha gatim hi Vishnu. The conditioned soul does not know that his real self-interest is to take shelter at the lotus feet of Lord Vishnu. To try to become happy by adjusting the material atmosphere is a useless endeavor. Indeed, it is impossible. What a statement. Try to become happy by adjusting. Wherever problem comes, we try to adjust, we try to solve it. But to try to become happy by adjusting the material atmosphere is a useless endeavor. Indeed, it is impossible. One has to raise one's consciousness. One has to become deeply Krishna conscious. Lack of Krishna consciousness is the root cause of the problem, not the situation itself. Sometimes we say, now Kali Yuga has come, so much is happening. But wait, which age problems were not there? Prahlad was on which age? Satyuga. Hiranyakashipu was easy. Now you can chant Hare Krishna even whichever political party may be there. Right? Good or whatever. But even during the time of Mughals, Jiva Goswami and other Goswamis could make a temple, right? This whole red sandstone for Radha Govinda Mandir and Radha Madan Mohan temple has come from Agra only. Sponsored by the great King Akbar. Right? The royal king, he is sponsored. But in Hiranyakashipu's time, could anyone talk of Hare Krishna, could temple or anything like that? So which age was better? Could anyone wear tilak, dhoti kurta, even in train, bus or whatever? No, Hiranyakashipu's time, nothing was there. And that was Satyuga. Treta Yuga, Ravana came. Was it easy with Ravana? It is mentioned that Ravana specifically instructed, go to the place where all the sages and all are staying and then, destroy their sacrifices and kill them. Eat their flesh. They were not eating the chicken and mutton, they were eating sage's flesh. That was a special delicacy. Soft, purified, with the fire and austerities on their eating. They're man-eating Rakshasas. They're doing that. Was it easy in Dwapar Yuga? People like Jarasandha were there, they were capturing the kings. What to say, ordinary people? 14,000 kings Jarasandha has captured for giving a sacrifice to Kal Bhairav. 16,000 ladies were captured by Narakasur, Bhaumasur. I don't know what he wanted to do. But such big scale kidnapping was going on, troubles were going on. Where was peace? So the material world by nature is a disturbed place that is created like that. So in that disturbing place, one should not spend too much time trying to adjust with things. Needful should be done, but one should know that the body, the mind, the situation, they will always be source of distraction and problem. I have to take advantage of everything what I have to become deeply Krishna conscious. And to the degree I understand and experience a connection with Krishna, to that degree I will not get troubled by all of them. They will still be there. And yesterday we were discussing how Krishna was insulted by so many people. So if we get insulted, what's the big deal? If we are doubted, what's the big deal? Krishna was doubted by his own man. Krishna was given curses by Shishupal. So it is the nature of the world. Krishna has to lose his brothers. Krishna has to lose his bhanja. Right? So one should not get disturbed and distracted by the happenings of the material world. One should remain focused. I am Krishna, eternal servant, service to Krishna. Krishna is eternal, I am eternal, service is eternal. Rest everything else is transient. That faith one should have. By personal behavior and instruction, Lord Rishabhadeva enlightened the conditioned soul and showed him how to become self-sufficient in his spiritual identity. Thus ends the Bhakti Vedanta purports and the Bhakti Vedanta. What is that? Bhakti Vedanta Raj Vidyalaya, Bhakti Vaibhava, 5th canto, unit 2, chapter 6 of Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled The Activities of Lord Rishabhadeva. Jai Granthra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Sorry, it got a little delayed because we started a little late and the clock is there, perhaps. I don't see it. So we'll conclude here. Is there any discussion? I'll wait for a couple of minutes and then you're completely breaking apart. So we are not having a break now. You already saved 1 day and half, 1.5 day. Good, huh? Small unit. I hope there's no penalty. But, but we already had extra class by Kamal Vajan Prabhu and Madhav Gopal Prabhu. Most of you were there also. So there was already extra classes this week. Okay, are there any comments or questions, or we conclude it here?
Can I
In
ask
chat.
question, Prabhu?
Oh, chat. Okay. Yeah, this is good. Krishnadas Abhimane ye Ananda Sindhu. Kona Brahma Sukha Nahe Tara Eka Bindu. Beautiful.
Koti Brahmaswam.
Yeah. Adi Leela 6.44. Krishna Das Abhiman, Advaita Acharya is saying that in the chapter. And then also it is said that Krishna Pada Padma Gandha. Like Padma Swarab, na? Krishna Pada Padma Gandha. Ei Janapai. Brahma Adi Sukha Tare Nahi Bhai. So Bhakti is glorified a lot. But I have to experience it, and that is the process. Morning, our first business should be to beat the mind with shoes 100 times before going to bed. To beat the mind 100 times, what it implies in life. At least minimum it means is that you get up in time and reach for Mangal Arati. At least minimum it means that you beat the mind with shoes. Means the mind will say, "Kal raat ko late hua tha, raat ko neend ठीक से नहीं हुआ, और रात को किसी ने snoring कर दिया, और अभी, दिन में बहुत tight है, थोड़ा आराम करते हैं." So at least the mind things are there. So you beat them with the shoes and say, "You rascal mind, get up now, attend Mangal Arati and chant there, and after that you'll see what to do." Minimum is what it means, to not get carried away by the minds. Second thing is, while we are chanting or doing our devotional activities, to not get distracted and to pull the mind back. At least to not delight in that. At least not to use japa time for a plan making session. Aaj din mein kya kya karna hai, Hare Krishna. And japa goes very well. If you allow your mind for plan making, but japa will get over in 7 minutes only. पूरा एकदम मस्त चलता है, ये भी और बाहर वाले लोगों को लगता है क्या प्रोजेक्ट जब कर रहे हैं, और अंदर से लगता है 2 in 1 मल्टीटास्किंग हो गया, प्लानिंग भी हो गया और जब भी हो गया, अच्छा यूटिलाइजेशन हो गया टाइम का, पैरेलल प्रोसेसिंग. सो टू at least not allow the mind to get distracted and absorb the mind in trying to hear the holy name. That's the minimum. And similarly, at the end of the day, the mind gets filled with so many impressions. He said this to me, he did this to me, he should have done like this, this could have been done like this better, and I could have been treated better. And so many injustices mind imagines, so many insults mind imagines, so many difficulties mind imagines. So one should beat with the stick, saying that you rascal mind, the problem is with you, not with others. Because you are contaminated, that's why you are getting all these problems. So rather than putting the blame on everyone else around us, to accept and understand that actually I am at fault, that is very troublesome for the mind. That's one meaning of beating mind with a stick. Different speakers define it differently. I'm not good in cutting things. I keep on hearing a lot, but I don't know how to cut and do things. But this will minimum means for a brahmachari. At the end of the day, you sleep well without blaming, criticizing, and having any confrontation with anyone. If you die in the night, you can die peacefully. You have nothing, no balance is remaining. कल इसको ये बोलना है, कल इसको मुंह तोड़ जवाब देना है, कल सुबह उठ के इसको मैसेज लिखूंगा, मेल लिखूंगा. Just beat the mind with the stick and sleep peacefully. Everything is over. Whatever has to be done, whatever happened, Krishna had some plan. I will try to learn the lesson. They try to do their best as their part of service. I try to do my part, and let's go ahead. So not keep any grudge towards anyone. That is very difficult for the mind, because mind delights in keeping grudges. Mind delights in conflicts and relationship issue. Mind gets so much to think, na? इसने ये बोला, ऐसा बोला, इसका क्या गलती है, इसका, like that it says. So mind gets filled with a lot of concocted ideas and things. But at the end of the day, to remember that I am ultimately Krishna's eternal, tiny, insignificant servant, and service is my only thing. So to get the mind freed from all kind of dusty thoughts. So when you beat with a stick, na, sometimes you have the carpet, na, doormat. You beat with a stick, the dust comes out. So what is the dust? You say, na, Cheto Dharma Marjan. The dust is of material desire. Oh, this person is nice, this lady is nice, this is that, this, all kind of material desires accumulate in the daytime. So again, remember that I am Krishna's eternal servant. and any service is a privilege to me. And I try to do service only for the pleasure of my spiritual master. That is one way of beating the mind with a stick. And beat with shoes, don't accept any argument of the mind which will lead to compromise in the morning program or in the morning sadhana. At least this much, minimum. Well, there may be many other things, but let's settle it this way. Yes, Vasudev Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. I had two questions for you. So the first one is that we see that how so much of insult and like the torture people did upon Rishabdev. So passing urine and foul air and all these things. On the other side, we also see in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's time when he was like in Grahastha ashram, so people were not respecting him. So he failed to take sannyas so that people will consider him. So otherwise they are doing offense also and they're not listening also to what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is speaking. Now here when Rishabdev is behaving like this and people are continuing to do that, will he not even further drown, I mean, because of the offense which they are committing to Supreme Lord, they'll go further hell. So, so then will not Lord want some steps to take for them? That, like, because instead of accepting, yes, please.
Yeah, that is why Lord Rishabdev was teaching the yogis how they should be indifferent to all these insults and all these dualities. He's teaching the yogis. And for the common man, definitely if they insult the Lord, then they will suffer in that way. So that's why he went to a secluded place and remained there. So it is mentioned there because people knew him is there, so they stopped their offenses. Another thing is told is that what Srila Sridhar Swami said, that these are activities to be showed for common men. These are like, kind of little extra things told. It writes in the commentary. Little extra thing told to show the behavior of common men. They will not literally apply. And what Srila Vishwanath Thakur says is that these apply to his universal form where people do all these things, but he became detached from his, he was not identifying himself as the universe and he became detached like that. So these are few ways in which he explained. But as a practical means, he retired to a secluded place. He didn't remain there so that people would not continue to insult him and do all these nonsensical things. So that's how he benefited the common people with that. And he already instructed the people, he already enthroned a good king to engage them. And he told that in the time of Rishabdev Maharaj, nobody desired any material gain. So now it's very surprising to know that they behaved like that. It is already told that nobody wanted will of the wisp. There's a verse which says, Goda Dimba. So when people are so elevated, how will they, insult a saintly person like this? But it is shown for the yogis that even if they are behaved like this, they should not get distracted. They should not get disturbed. That example is established for the yogis to be followed for that.
Yes, thank you, Prabhu. Please, one more. This is just a technical thing only. Question, like in verse number 28, in chapter number 5. So there it is mentioned in the translation that the Lord took the sacrificial fire within himself and he left Brahmavata to tour the whole world. What does that mean, Prabhu? Sacrificial fire within himself.
Better to ask somebody like Kanai Krishna while ask an update or our Bhakti Padma Saurabh Swami Maharaj. Because Acharya did not comment on that in Vishwanath Thakur, and also I couldn't really contemplate on that much. It will have a definite meaning and my speculation will not have much effect. And why it is, I can try to give some answer, but better I'll ask and give. Okay, I'll ask and give.
Okay. Yes, okay.
Okay, Mukund Madhav bro. Okay, you have a question.
Like one of the instruction that Rishabdev gave us that Guru Nasasya, Svajarena Sasya. So there he's even including relatives and other people, whom one is connected. So when Krishna's arrangement is there and the living entities, karma and other things are also there. So why that instruction is given about taking care of one subject so much? We see time and again, even in Rudamara section or many other sections in Bhagavatam. So how to see that in connection to one's Krishna conscious practice?
Krishna's arrangement is there that we are born in a certain place to certain father and certain relatives are there. So, yeah. So then how the importance is given to Swajana and all those personalities like that? Why it is?
What is their role?
See, Shri Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur describes that one should not take the respect and reverence of being a superior, unless one is able to give some good advice, for the spiritual welfare of the dependent. That is the main point. So Swajana, now nobody designs one Swajana, na? Swajana are there. But he says that suppose we are elder to someone, right? But if we are not able to contribute in his spiritual growth, at least we are not doing our duty of giving him the spiritual knowledge, then we should not feel bad if they don't respect us. We should not demand that I am elder to you, respect. Hota hai na? When Swajana is there, then mother, father, teacher, hey, this uncle touch the feet, auntie. There are many family members and relatives. So when we accept respect from someone, dependence on someone, then it's our duty to reciprocate by giving them pure knowledge. That's what Guru does. Guru accepts service from the disciple. Na? That's the duty of the disciple to serve Guru. But the Guru has to give spiritual wisdom in return. Guru has to give instruction as his service to the disciple. So what he's saying is that Devatas also, they do not have the right to accept the respect and reverence which is given to them if they are not doing the true spiritual welfare work for the dependent. So that's the duty. If they don't do that, then they are not doing the duty properly. They are, subjected to the reactions of that process. So that's what it is there, that Swajana are by the arrangement of the Lord. But when we are Swajana of someone or somebody else is Swajana, it's their responsibility. Actually, the responsibility begins by just taking human form. There's no exception. Not that our relatives are not devotees. Actually, they're not fulfilling the purpose of human life because they are just doing the same thing as animals do, Dvipada Pashu. So, Athato Brahma Jigyasa, Atha ito means now that you have a human form, Athato. Atha ito is not the first thing. Atha ito means now. So, now means there is some preceding thing. Right? So, now means, now when means? Now that you have a human form of life, Athato Brahma Jigyasa. Now you must inquire about Brahma Jigyasa. You should inquire. And one is not doing that, one is not fulfilling the purpose of human life only. Externally, one may be big and whatever other things one have, but actually, from a spiritual perspective, is degraded. Like Prabhupada said, polished animal. The version of polished animal is quotes in Ishopanishad that we have a version of polished animals. So animals are very crude, na? Dogs, cats, but human being without a spiritual culture, tie, suit, coat, pant, Ray-Ban, Lee, Peter England, all that things, and Nike shoes. But it's a polished animal because propensities are same. Purpose of the life is same. There's no higher purpose. But it is polished. It looks nice. Polished thing looks better than non-polished. Huh? So polished version of animals like that. So then the purpose of life get defeated. So it's for us that when we play that role, then we should be doing three things. Set an example, give knowledge, and give facility. Three things we have to do to ensure that we are playing our role in any leadership capacity. Set an example, create facility, and give knowledge, give instruction. Facility means there should be some way, they should be engaged. Right? Like suppose you have some family members or some relative, then you can say, oh, you go to this temple, this center, you connect them to someone. So there's some facility for them, or you tell them you offer boga at your home. So some facility there where they can act in devotional service. They have to practice devotional service. So it's an activity. It requires some setup. So that setup, ISKCON is already that setup, but we have to connect people to that. Okay, so we stop here. Thank you all very much. Granthara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki.